Welcome to the Love Across Time. I am your guide. And today we will explore together the love story that spans 1,000 years between Weiwei and Feng Xujin. Chapter 41. In her chamber. Looking far away from the window, she stroked her flat stomach. It was a simply beautiful moment of a mother waiting for her unborn child. But the cruel fate will tear them apart. "Baby, I'm sorry if I leave you early. I love you," she whispered with tears welled up in her eyes. A sudden barged in startled her. It was him. She quickly took off her hand from her stomach. "What are you doing here?" Li Weiwei said coldly. She turned around, not wanting to see his expression, but suddenly his hand snaked around her waist. Her eyes widened. She is afraid he could feel it. So she tried to shake him off, but he is too strong. She stood there unmoving for a few seconds. His warmth enveloped her, somehow comforting. He suddenly placed his head in the crook of her neck. She could feel him breathing heavily as he held her. "Why didn't you tell me you were pregnant?" The tears that she has been holding went down like a river. "I'm sorry for ignoring you," he said. She suddenly felt wet at her neck. And she finally realized it was his tears. "I am so sorry," she sobbed when she think on how much did she hurt him that he cry. Li Weiwei knew that he is here to convince her to abort their baby. "But I can't lose you," Feng Xujin added, giving a hint that he will choose her no matter what. "I couldn't do that to our child." Her lips tremble as she said that. Li Weiwei noticed that he don't know that she is going back, even if she didn't keep their child. She either had to choose between giving birth then die or abort. Going back to modern world safely. She would never choose the latter. This is her first child with a man that she loves. She is willing to risk everything. Slowly turning around, she held his face in her hand. Looking up at him. This is the first time she saw his eyes are red. She wiped off a tear that fell on his handsome face. "Why don't we try? Maybe me and our baby will be safe." Li Weiwei knew it is impossible, but she is going to persuade him even if it is a lie. Xujin, for our baby's sake." She looked at him with hope. Her eyes shine with tears in it. "Fine. But we are going to make sure you are safe." Feng Xujin finally gave up. He knew she is willing to do anything for their baby. Li Weiwei hugged him tightly because she don't want him to see her gloomy face. Xujin, I'm so sorry. Please keep our baby safe." She prayed in her mind, "I won't take a concubine." His words making her look up so quickly. This is not in her plan. Li Weiwei really want him to take a concubine so the concubine could take care of their child when Li Weiwei gone. "But it is necessary to take a concubine since you are more than able. A man will have at least one concubine to have more children." "I don't mean." Before she could continue her words, Feng Xujin interrupted her. "It was a final decision. I didn't ask you." His voice was stern, "But Xujin, stop arguing. I am still mad that you hide such a big matter from me." These stopped her from talking. She knew he is disappointed in her. "I'm very sorry," Li Weiwei whispered in a low voice. Feng Xujin just kept quiet while rubbing her back in a soothing manner. He felt like he is holding his world. His hand wrapped tightly around her in a protective way. "Have you ever thought if something might happen to you and our baby?" He started to nag. "I know, and I'm sorry." She don't know how to convince him. "Don't do it again. It kills me." Feng Xujin is not good in expressing his own feeling, but this time he told her that he was hurting so much due to her decision. Her heart crumbled when she heard him said that. This is the first time he ever tell his real feeling, and he said he was hurting. He is like a child who don't know how to express his own emotion. "I'm sorry." She tiptoeing and grabbed his head towards her direction. While saying her apology, she gave him a peck on the lips. After their small apologizing moment, Feng Xujin just embraced her tightly. He still couldn't believe that his most beloved person is growing another small version of him in her stomach. He feels so lucky to have her. And he is thanking the God for blessing him with such a wonderful angel in his dark and plain world. "I've never asked anything from you before, but I want her to be with me forever." Feng Xujin's last thought were praying to the God that he just acknowledged. Chapter 42. 5 months later. Hiding the great news from were indeed very hard. Feng Xujin have no intention on telling everyone that Li Weiwei is pregnant, as it will increase the risks of being targeted. He realized that having enemies is not benefiting at all. Before Li Weiwei entered his life, he never cared about all the enemy he has. But now it is a different case. So he decided to hide her pregnancy from everyone. Until one day it was completely uncontrollably. It was when Li Weiwei's stomach started to grow bigger. Feng Xujin do inform Li Weiwei's parents, and they are blissful. Feng Xujin personally asked them not to spread the news until Li Weiwei gave birth safely. "You haven't visited me for days, are you that busy?" He could hear her voice from his study room. Looking up slowly from his work, he could see his wife getting prettier day by day. She was literally glowing. He couldn't help but feel blessed by her presence. For the past few days he had been working without a break, but every night he would visit her room just to see her face. "I'm sorry," Feng Xujin said it. It was getting easier to say sorry to her since she is the only one who will heard it from him. Li Weiwei slowly walked up to him. She is wearing a pink hanfu, but it was visible that the clothes were bigger than her usual size. She is still the same except that her aura is changing. Probably due to the pregnancy. Li Weiwei's aching on her back is getting worse, but sometimes Zhao Mama will massage her back. Li Weiwei were very grateful that since she pregnant, her mother always send her food and some herbs. Feng Xujin also follow her steps as she always had a changing of mood. "I miss you." Sitting in front of him while pouting like a small child, Li Weiwei feels like she is being extra clingy. "Come here." Feng Xujin instructed her to come near him. He don't like her sitting on the floor as it was cold. Standing up carefully, she walked towards him before he started to nag. His naggers is getting worse these days. She was about to sit beside him, but he slowly lifted her towards his lap. "I am heavy, I will sit beside you." Li Weiwei's voice accidentally raised as she was startled. "You're not heavy, just let me hold you." Feng Xujin held her still as he hugged her closely to him. She let him hold her. His hands slowly stroked her stomach. He could feel that his baby sometimes moving. A proud feeling arose in him. The time fly by so fast, right, Xujin? Li Weiwei turned her head to take a good look of him. Feng Xujin placed his head by the crook of her neck. He couldn't get enough of her scent, it's ticklish. "Don't do that." She laughed when she felt his breath on her neck. "I love you," his words made her choke. "I love you too." Her eyes started to tear up, but she held it in. For the past few months, she could feel that her body is getting weaker. But she acted like it was a normal condition of someone who is pregnant. So she tried her best to cherish her moment with her husband. Palace's court. "Feng Xujin, why must I hear the great news from outsider?" The emperor asked as soon as they did the country's matter. "I didn't mean to hide it from everyone, but I'm just worried about my wife's welfare." "Are you still mad at Jin because of the last incident?" The emperor could sense that Feng Xujin deliberately forbid Li Weiwei from entering the palace as his majesty didn't meet her since the last incident. Seeing that Feng Xujin just kept silence, his majesty congratulated him and Li Weiwei then. All the officials started to disperse. "I still can't believe that our general will be blessed with a child." Two of the officials started to gather up. "Yes, me too. I thought he has no interest in woman and marriage." The other official replied, "That lady is lucky to be able to conceive his child." "That's right. Let's just hope she will give birth to a son so that the general will remain to care for her." The official said it carefully. In this era, giving birth to a son is very important. It is to give a woman an important recognition. So every time their wife is pregnant, they will pray at the temples for a son. Wow. This is a lot. Li Weiwei were very surprised when she saw a bunch of gifts from the palace. "Throw this away." Feng Xujin casually said it to a guard. "Wait. Why are throwing these away?" The guard's about to move it away, but Li Weiwei stopped them. "We don't know if they put anything dangerous in it." Feng Xujin's suspicions towards everyone has increased due to his sensitivity for her welfare. "Also, if you want, I will buy a new one for you." Xujin, stop it. "You're wasting everything that are very expensive," Li Weiwei sternly said. "Then what are we going to do with it?" "You're not going to use those." He is determined on throwing it away as he knows she will want some of the gifts. "What about giving it to our people?" Zhao Mama will check first to make sure it is safe. She knew Feng Xujin will not let her use any of them, so she at least want to give it away to people who are in need. He is being too sensitive since he knew that she is bearing a child of his. Her food will only be cooked by Zhao Mama and will be tasted before it can get into Li Weiwei's mouth. Her clothes and robes will be used and washed until it was very clean, as he is afraid of some germs and virus. She is not allowed to do hard work, and she need to spend time in the manor only. Li Weiwei obviously feels stuffy living in the manor 24/7. But it is for herself, so she bear with it. She is excited for the baby to see the world. Chapter 43. Don't walk too much. His stern voice can be heard in the whole manor. Walking is good for a pregnant lady like me. It will ease a bit when I gave birth. She glared at him. Her mood is getting worse. She feel like her pregnancy phase passed by a bit too fast, but she loves every bits of them. Feng Xujin always be there for her. Fortunately, she don't have any worse cravings for weird food. She is just craving for a normal food. But she has been really clingy towards her husband. Even from afar, it can be seen that she is basically glowing. Her stomach is huge, but it fits perfectly with her small body. Feng Xujin stay at home for the past month to take care of her. Xujin, 3 weeks left until our baby could see the world. I've never asked to get out of the manor until today, but now I want you to fulfill my wish. I want to see a small lanterns festival in the manor. Please. Her tone were practically begging. Okay. He thought she is going to ask for permission to go out. Seeing that it is her first time wanting something, he might allow her to go out and of course with him. But she only want a lantern show. He will indeed fulfill it. All of them in the manor were too busy preparing for the show for their heavy pregnant madam. Their master had instructed to make sure it is safe. Zhao Mama even book a special lantern for her masters. She want the most special since it is probably the last time Li Weiwei could spend time relaxing, as after this she will focus more on giving birth. The manor were filled with lantern. It was too bright that it doesn't look like the general's manor. Different kind of lantern graced the manor. Colors brighten the whole household. It was so beautiful that the manor was full of fireflies around it. Wow, she let out an exclamation. Only one word could describe the situation. It was magnificent. She had imagined how it will look like, but it was beyond her imagination. She was stunned by the image. Do you like it? Feng Xujin, who has been holding her so she could carefully walk, finally said something. I love it. Li Weiwei couldn't believe that he would go to this kind of extent. It must cost lots of money. Let's sit first. He led her towards a small bench. She sit beside him, but her eyes can't stop looking at the view of the manor. It was so different from the day view start. Zhao Li instructed the servants. Suddenly several of servants came out and let go of the lanterns. Such a beautiful sight. The lanterns started to flew away. But it was just the first round. I want one too. Li Weiwei looked at her husband with cute eyes, trying to appeal. He only nodded. Then Zhao Ma'am bring her one. She then asked them to help her bring the brush and ink. She wanted to write something on the lantern. It was one of her favorite Chinese poem. I want to be your love forever and ever, without break or decay, when the hills are all flat. The rivers are all dry, when it thunders in winter, when it snows in summer, when heaven and earth mingle. Not till then will I part from you. Hold it. She instructed him. Li Weiwei turned the Latin opposite of him. She don't want him to see what she is writing. After writing all of them, she hold his hand and told him to let it go. I want to see it. Feng Xujin insisted on reading what she wrote. Nope. You cannot read it. It is my wish to the god. She sheepishly smiled at him. At the end he give in. They finally let it go when the lantern flew away. The written words turns to his side. His heart flutters so much, but he is afraid that she will eventually leave him, just like the old senior said. Xujin. Her voice shook him away from his deep thoughts. Promise me you will take care of our baby. If I unexpectedly, die. Li Weiwei trailed off the last words, as she knew he don't like it when she said something like that. Don't talk about something like that. I don't like it. He frowned. Also, you want a baby girl or a boy? She quickly changed the topic when she felt the mood changes in him. I don't mind as long as you and the baby is safe. He meant every words that he said. He couldn't live without her. If he need to choose between her and their baby, he will unhesitatingly choose her. It might seem cruel, but if there is no her by his side, then what is there to live? He is willing to live with her forever, even without a descendant. But he knew she will choose the baby instead of her own life. So he will fight for both his wife and his children. As long as they both live. He got nothing else lacking. He would be the happiest man in the world. Chapter 44. Call the midwife and a physician now. Zhao Mama screamed on top of her lung. She was too panicked when she saw Li Weiwei on the ground with water everywhere. Madam, take a deep breath. She couldn't think anything. Zhao Mama even forgot to inform Feng Xujin as she is too busy to teach Li Weiwei on how to breath. Li Weiwei, on the other hand, tried to remain calm, but the pain that's starting to hit her wave by wave causes her to moan in pain. Earlier, she was getting ready to wake up from the bed, but suddenly she realized that her lower body was soaked. After she stand up, pain gathered on her lower body. Then the idea of her water breaking struck her. She was too surprised that she accidentally sat on the floor. One moment later, Zhao Mama called for her, but she was in pain, so Zhao Mama barged in. Exhale, inhale, Zhao Mama, I'm okay. Can you please carry me to the bed? Li Weiwei don't want to add the dread, so she handled the situation smoothly. Yes, of course. This old woman forgot to help you as I was too panicked. Zhao Mama hit her forehead after she realized her madam position. Zhao Mama helped her carefully get up from the floor and place her properly on her bed. Zhao Mama had never handled a pregnant woman who was about to give birth, so she don't know what to do. Madam, do you want anything? She asked Li Weiwei. No. Zhao Mama, did you inform Xujin? From the moment she feel pain, she couldn't think of anything else except him. She is afraid that she will die without seeing him for one last time. Her face frowning with pain, sweat gathering on her face. She is in a great pain, but she bear with it. Oh my greatest God, he is gonna be really mad. I will leave to inform his first. Zhao Mama started to sprint for her life. Once Zhao Mama leaves, she finally let out the sound of being in pain. It is impossible to hold the pain, but she don't want anyone to get worried. Her eyes filled with tears, hand clutching on the mattress while the other one holding her stomach. Her back feels like it had break into two. Her head started to spinning. General. Zhao Mama loud voice sounded through the manor. It risen the alarm among all of those who live in the manor. Madam is going into labor. She barged into his study room without greetings. There's no time to waste anymore. Hearing that, Feng Xujin and Zhao Li, who were inside the room, was in shock. After a few seconds, Feng Xujin finally got himself together and started to run. It was his first time running. He had never ran as it was unruly according to what he has been taught. But today he ran for her and their child. He run like mad. Fear washes over him as he think of Li Weiwei. The door of her chamber visible on his vision. Barging in, he look everywhere for her in a mad way. His heart couldn't handle the fear that he feel. Once he saw her, his heart calm a bit. You came. Li Weiwei look at her husband, who was in short of breath. Of course, why haven't the midwife arrived? He was enraged. She was clearly in pain. Feng Xujin saw the way her eyes were swollen and red. She is pretending to be okay. The midwife and physician has arrived. A woman in her 50s make her appearance in Li Weiwei chamber. She rushed quickly to Li Weiwei's side. She need to give birth now. Everyone get out. The midwife asked them to get out, but Feng Xujin don't want to. Li Weiwei hold his hand and gave him a nodded, which means she will be okay. But she knew her body couldn't held in any longer. She only wished to be able to see her baby for once. I'm okay, but I'm not. Feng Xujin stubbornly wanted to stay. But in Chinese tradition, it is not proper for a man to stay inside a room where a woman gave birth. Wait outside. It is improper if you stay here. She actually don't want him to see her in pain. He will break, she knows it. She want him to be strong for their child. Unwillingly walking out, he see her for one last time and the door closed. Why are they taking so long? Feng Xujin was getting patientless. She is gonna be okay, wait for some minutes more. Zhao Li tried to comfort him a bit. All of them then kept quiet. Tension could be feel in their veins. It was a great moment, but they're afraid something might happen. One moment later, the sound of a baby crying out loud relieves them. All of them thanked the God for the blessings. It is A. The midwife came out wanting to inform him about the baby gender. But Feng Xujin cut her off. How is my wife? The midwife were quite shocked by the question. It is because most of the father would ask the baby gender, not the wife's condition. She lost a lot of blood, but she managed to give birth normally. But her life general should see her yourself. The midwife were somehow feeling sad for Li Weiwei when she remembered a moment a while ago. You wouldn't be able to give birth with this kind of condition, the midwife sternly said. She could see blood soaking the mattress. It was not normal as it was in a great amount. She looked worriedly at Li Weiwei. She is starting to lose her conscience, but she tried her best to open her eyes. I'm fine, quickly proceed, don't tell him anything. I beg you, even if anything happened to me. Save the baby, words dripping weakly from her mouth. But Li Weiwei nodded at her, means that she agreed with any risks. The midwife worriedly proceeded with the labor process, trying to stay focused for last time. It was so hard for her to stay conscious. It was impossible. But her will to see her husband for one last time is too strong. When she heard her baby crying, her heart were filled with happiness. The fact that she is able to give him a descendant were ecstatic. She don't mind about the gender, Weiwei. His voice clearly rang through her ears. Through the blurry in her eyes, she still could make out his feature. She held out her hand towards him and he grabbed it without any hesitation. Take care of our son. Yes, she had given birth to a son. The midwife told her earlier. What are you talking about? We will take care of him together. Feng Xujin's eyes turning bloody red. He was trying so hard not to shed a tears. I love you, her last words rang clearly then. She closed her eyes. Chapter 45, 21st century. Laying stilled on the bed was a pale body belonged to a young woman. Her body were full of wires, which is a life support machine. At the end of the bed, details of the lady were stated on a board. Undoubtedly she is Li Weiwei. In the patient's chart, it was stated that she is in comatose due to lack of oxygen. Li Weiwei was found by her friend when she visited Li Weiwei. Song Jiaqi tried to wake her up, but she was completely unmoved. Song Jiaqi screamed for help, and that's how Li Weiwei was hospitalized. It has been a week since she is admitted to the hospital. Doctor couldn't actually diagnose her disease as she is healthy. Her mother, Mrs. Chin, has been taking care of her daughter since day one she is sick. She couldn't stop praying for her daughter. She regret not checking on her whether she eat well or not. Suddenly, a small movement averting Mrs. Chin's attention to it. It was Li Weiwei's hand. She thought she is imagining things, but when her finger moved again shocked Mrs. Chin. Is her daughter finally coming to her sense, Weiwei? Mrs. Chin exclaimed. She pressed the button to call the doctor. Eyes fluttering open very slowly. Her whole body was numb. She feels so tired. Li Weiwei can hear someone called her. But she did not pay attention on it. She is trying her best to open her eyes. Eyelids started to open and a brightness of the lamp hurt her eyes. Quickly close it before she tried to open it again. A doctor and 2 nurses went into her room. The doctor picked some equipment to check on her. The doctor is one of her senior. He take out his flashlight pen. The main purpose of a pen light is to assess pupil response. A sudden bright light shone into her eyes, making her squirm a bit. Her pupil moves to avoid the light. I will check her further. But we should thank the God she finally woke up from coma. The doctor said to Mrs. Chin, thank you, doctor. Thank you, doctor. Mrs. Chin bowed many times. Water. Her spoke in a hoarse tone. She feels so thirsty. Mrs. Chin rushed to pour water in a small glass for her daughter, putting a straw in it to make it easier for her to drink it. Mom, why am I at the hospital? While her mom talking to her senior, she had the time to access her surrounding, and she realized that she is at the hospital. Her mother explained everything in a simple way so she didn't hurt her mind. Indeed, she couldn't remember anything else except that the last time she remembered was that she slept after reading the book. How did I ended up here? And why did my heart feel like it was in a great pain? Li Weiwei feel extremely uncomfortable. Grabbing her heart, a pain strike through it. Her eyes throbbing with tears. Why did she feeling this way? Is it because of the coma? She shrugged off her condition as she feel the pain reducing. Pretending that she is fine, she hugged her mother tightly. I miss you, Mom, mumbling it slowly. You. How could you make me feel worry like that? Her best friend Song Jiaqi screamed at her. It has been a week since she discharged from the hospital. But Jiaqi couldn't leave her work, so she got no choice but to wait. And today she head to Li Weiwei's dorm. Mrs. Chin insisted on taking care of her until she is well enough. But Li Weiwei refused as she feel like she is being troublesome. Also she is feeling better so she could actually take care of her own. I'm fine. You were in a freaking comatose and you said it is okay. Jiaqi slapped Li Weiwei's arm. Jiaqi, I got something to ask you. Li Weiwei grabbed Jiaqi's startle her. What is it? Why are you so serious? Jiaqi asked in a concerned way. Is it normal to feel sad after waking up from comas? I mean, like really heartbreaking, like seriously sad. Li Weiwei tried to explain further about her emotions. Jiaqi looked at her in a weird way. She feel that Li Weiwei seems different from what she is before. The way she spoke also had changed a bit. A bit more formal. I'm not so sure about that. But maybe you're different. Jiaqi replied hesitantly, hearing her answer. Li Weiwei sat back down on her bed. Maybe she is right. 2 months later. Time seems to fly by so fast. Li Weiwei going through her life just like before. But still the lingering feeling of missing someone is still there. No matter how much she tried to enjoy her life. It didn't seem possible. Every single night she will sleep with tears. The weirdest thing is the tears came out naturally and she will feel pain in the heart region. When she checked up in her hospital, her senior said there's nothing wrong with her. So she gave up. She will just cope with her new lifestyle until she figure out her real problem. Today she is visiting the library she last visited before the incident. Every time she passed by the library, she feels some pull for her to visit the place again. And today she got some free time, so she take up the chance to borrow some book. Looking through the book, her finger stuck on a book. Pulling it out, she was quite surprised. It was the book that she read before. Jiaqi had helped returning the book. But she wasn't expecting to see the book at the medical section. Someone must have been misplaced it. She walked towards the novel section, wanting to put the book. Suddenly, a paper slipped out of the book. Li Weiwei looked right and then left. Wonder if there is someone who owned the paper. But the paper seemed so old. Opening it carefully, it was written with ink calligraphy ink. I missed you. This was the only sentence that was written inside the paper. But that word bring out again the sentiment that had been chasing Li Weiwei. Her heart break apart when he sees the book cover. It was him who came to her dream every time. All of a sudden, gut-wrenching sobs that tore through her chest. Memories about him flew all over her minds. She could hold the heartbreak no longer, and she fell to the floor in a disheveled heap as her grief poured out in a flood of uncontrollable tears. I'm so sorry. She mumbled the words through sobs while clutching the book closer to her heart. I'm so sorry for leaving you alone. A great sobs escaped her, and she covered her face with her other hand. Body trembling with sorrow, she cried for their fate. She couldn't imagine how he is handling his own feeling. Great tremor took over her. Eyes swollen with lips trembling. I miss you too. I'm so sorry. A tightening of her throat and a short intake of breath. A stranger approached her, asking her if she is all right. But she couldn't care less. How could she live without remembering him? Why did you let me live if you're gonna let me live in a great pain of living in this world without him? Li Weiwei mentally screamed at her creator. It would be better if she is dead rather than her forgetting about him and continue living on as if nothing happened. Her head suddenly struck with pain due to sudden force of remembering the previous memories. She let the pain took over her and she fainted right there while hugging the book. Everyone was too panicked, calling for ambulance or anyone who knew her. Checking her pulse to find that there's no longer was one. Epilogue back to the ancient era. Everyone were starting to forget about their general's wife death except him. No one know that she is barely breathing with the help of acupuncture and medical treatment. It was not his intention to let them thought that she is dead, but it somehow spread out like that. So he just go with it as it will be better for them being oblivious. No harm will come. After Li Weiwei fainted that time, Feng Xujin asked the physician to check on her. She is barely holding on. It would be best if we let her go. The physician keep his head the whole time. He know the general care for his wife so much. Feng Xujin was paralyzed to the spot. The menacing aura holding him in a tightening grip. No, just do anything to save her. Feng Xujin sternly said. He could no longer control his hands, they were shaking in an odd trembling rhythm. A feeling of dread crept up from the pit of his stomach. He is terrified. I can only provide some medicine and acupuncture to keep her alive or keep her breathing. But Madam would be lying there just like someone lifeless. The physician hesitantly said. What he meant was paralyzed. In the modern world, she would be depending on the ventilator machine, but in the ancient world, it will depends on ancient medical care. Anything, just do anything to keep her alive. Feng Xujin, completely aware that he is being selfish. He believes that she will come back. If he let go of her, he will surely lose his sane. But when he think about their son, he needed to get himself together until today. He will accompany her every morning and night after he did his business. Feng Xujin had completely changed. He is becoming more cold and merciless. Last time he went to a war, the rival were all killed, none left alive. Everyone could literally remember that day. He came back from the war with blood everywhere on his armor suit. It was terrifying. Feng Xujin might be alive, but when someone looked into his eyes, it was lifeless. He had lost his one and only light. Even his son couldn't cheer him up. It's not that he doesn't love his own child, but he just couldn't get over the fact that his Weiwei is in front him, but it's like she is not more there. His son sometimes stay at Weiwei's mother manor. At first it was hard for her family to accept the truth, but eventually they started to take everything in as life must go on. Minister Li and Madam Li volunteer to take care of Li Weiwei's son with their best, as they knew their son-in-law is not really in a very good condition. Feng Xujin missed seeing those bright eyes, her smile, her clumsiness, and every single thing that she did to make him laugh. Every time he feels like crying, but tears won't come out. It's like there's no more tears left to cry. On the inside, his soul feels like it is slowly being ripped apart from him. His heart broke into pieces every time he sees his son. He didn't even had the chance to meet his mother. Xujin, she is no more in this world. Jin, hope you will move on. Even the emperor didn't know that Feng Xujin hid Li Weiwei. Feng Xujin just kept quiet and looked blankly at his majesty. All the official look at him at the corner of their eyes. Before this, they always thought that he is scary, but after his wife's death, he became more terrifying. Some would shit their pants when they look straight on his eyes. His aura is getting darker. Even his majesty is afraid Feng Xujin will do something beyond imaginable. If you agree, I will find a suitable new bride for. Before the emperor could continue any further, Feng Xujin cut him off, unyielding. I will take my leave first. Any further business, you can tell Zhao Li. He left without any permission. The emperor looked worriedly at the hardened back of Feng Xujin while he is leaving. Zhao Li, the emperor suddenly called in for Zhao Li. I'm here, your majesty. Zhao Li, pay respect to the emperor. Look after Feng Xujin. Don't let him do anything stupid. The emperor is afraid that Feng Xujin will be going as far as killing himself. I will uphold your order, your majesty. Zhao Li, before leaving the palace. He is the one who has been accompanying Feng Xujin, and obviously, he knew every single pain that Feng Xujin went through. Li Weiwei is the only person who could bring back the old Feng Xujin. What will happen to the country if the great general is not capable in protecting the country? Few months back, Feng Xujin had requested to step down from his position, but the emperor refused it as the country still do not have any suitable person to take Feng Xujin's place. In the chamber that one get in except Feng Xujin and the physician, it was quiet and peaceful. There lay a petite body with a man accompanying her on her right side. He is holding her right hand, bringing her pale hand to his face. He wanted to feel her, but what was left on her hand was cold. Only cold hand. No more the warm hand that he always kiss. When are you going to wake up? He asked while staring at her milky face. Don't you miss me? I miss you so much. That cold and hard eyes will always turn soft whenever his eyes cast on her. I need you and our son need you. Every day he whispers words to her, but she got no reaction. But he never get tired. I'm so sorry if you're tired, but I couldn't let you go. His eyes averting to the view in front of him. The windows were transparent so he could see everything outside. Can you please wake up and hold me? Placing his head on her stomach, he asked her to hold him like a small child. His voice is getting huskier, eyes getting red. My heart is in pain, indescribable pain. More than anything I could endure unknown to him. A tear slipped from her eyes. I couldn't endure it anymore. I feel like I could break down and lose my mind any day. So will you please wake up and kiss my pain away? If it is possible. He wanted to find her in her world that she told him before. But he don't know how to get to her world. His other hand clenched into fist. eyes shut down in a forcing way, his head hurting thinking about their destiny. He cursed the god for doing this, but at the same time asked the god to bring back his Weiwei. A small movement suddenly occurred. It was her finger eyes fluttering, wanted to see him, adjusting the view in front of her. The first thing she felt was his head on her stomach. Lifting her hand slowly, she wanted to touch his hair. Once her hand fell on his head, she feel him body getting tense. He hold her hand tightly, hoping for it to be real, lifting his head and turning to her direction. His eyes were eyes and glistening of tears can be seen. It was a miracle. She lifted her hand and slowly stroking his cheek using her small thumb. He couldn't believe it. She is here. His one and only source of happiness is here. Xujin, I'm here. Tears raced down her cheek as she said it with a weak smile. Special chapter. In the manner that used to be quiet were suddenly interrupted with a small voice of a small boy. A 5-year-old boy's pitching voice thunder through the house. Ouch! While running wanting to meet his mother, he tripped over a huge stone. His knee scraped over the bare sand and resulting him a bruised and wound knee. A lady who saw it happened quickly rushed towards the boy. Hong told you many times not to run, right? She said softly while scooting the boy towards her. The lady picked up the boy easily to a table near to them. She is still the same Weiwei. Wearing a soft blue hanfu, she looked elegant. It has been 5 years, but she hasn't aged even a bit. While her son's feature is a copy-paste of his father, the intimidating feature is on her son. Only her eyes featuring hers. So whenever she sees her son, his feature remind her of her husband. Somehow feeling proud that her son is so very good-looking just like his father. I miss you, mother. Her son Feng Hong sadly said while pouting at her. He is only 5 years old, but Feng Xujin had asked a private master to teach him everything. My precious baby, I miss you too. Li Weiwei apply some ointment on his wound. Her son is strong just like his father. He didn't even shed a tear when he is sick. Li Weiwei still feel glad that her son do have affection in him whenever he is with her. But in front of others, his father's personality and aura exudes in him. After tending his wound, Li Weiwei blow his wound a bit to lessen the pain. But her son only look at her. She looked back at him in a curious way. That eyes is definitely want something from Li Weiwei because Li Weiwei always does that to Feng Xujin when she crave for things. What is it? She asked softly while holding his cheeks. Mother, can I take a break after this? Feng Hong hesitantly asked while fiddling his fingers. That habit definitely came from Li Weiwei. Li Weiwei could just sigh softly. She knew her son is tired and she also knew that Feng Xujin want the best for him. But Feng Xujin is being too strict on him. Of course, baby, you can take a break after this. She finally give in. Seems like she really need to talk to Feng Xujin. Feng Hong hugged his mother tightly. He likes his mother better than his father as he is always too stern on him. Li Weiwei was about to fall asleep when a familiar hand held her waist, pulling her close to him. She turned around with lazy eyes. When did you came home? Just got back. He simply while sniffing her scent. Feng Xujin loved the way she smelled naturally. Her eyes open wide when she suddenly feel kisses on her face and neck. She then remembered that she got something to talk to him. Stop it. Li Weiwei pushed his chest trying to make some gap, but he hold her tighter. Would I miss you a lot? Feng Xujin reply when he realized that she is in a not very good mood. After the incident 5 years ago, Feng Xujin had promised himself to appreciate her better and he did. He exposed every single secret of his, every personality of his. He wanted to show her that he loved her so much that he could go crazy. And Li Weiwei until today couldn't get used to Feng Xujin's clingy side. Don't be too stern on Hong. Li Weiwei looked straight into his eyes. She tried to show her angry side, trying to hide his amusement on her action. A chuckle burst within him. His chest rumbled with laughter. It's been years, but he still find her cute. Stop laughing, she rolled her eyes at him. She just knew it wouldn't work. I'm not stern on Hong. Yes you are. I want you to cancel some of his class that is not necessary. She sternly said. Her son is getting tired due to the endless class. But no, but. You better cancel it or I won't talk to you. He is still young. I want him to be able to play like a normal kids. I don't want him to bury himself in books for his whole life. I want him to lead his life normally. No political and no war. I wanted nothing but his happiness. Her eyes started to tear up. Her son had suffered a lot. Still, he hasn't complained any of it. If you're doing this because I couldn't give you another. Li Weiwei trailed her words. She knew he hated it when she talked about it. Don't talk like that. I admit I was wrong. I only thought for Hong Heir to become the best, but never the thought of his happiness. He sternly cut her off before she could continue any further. Feng Xujin don't like it when she brought up the topic. It will only pain herself. After waking up from the coma, the physician confirmed that she couldn't bear any other child anymore. It was hard to accept the reality at first, but give the support from all of them. She managed to go through it. She would be lying if she said that she didn't feel hurt when others said that she is barren. But seeing her one and only son growing up healthily lessened her pain in her heart. She had never regret giving birth to him. Feng Hong is the best gift the god had blessed her. I'm sorry. Feng Xujin hugged her and kissed her forehead begging for forgiveness. I'm sorry too for bringing up the topic. She mumbled against his chest, you're too scary. He is afraid of you. Hong Heir would love it if his father treat him softly. I know it's hard for you to do that, but try it for our son's sake. Li Weiwei added after his son started walking. The boy had been avoiding Feng Xujin. He don't know why, but he see every moment of his son and his mother. He act lovely when he is with his mother, but quickly turn quiet when Feng Xujin approached them. I will try. He will change for his wife and son's sake. Let's become the best parents for him. Li Weiwei said while hugging him back. Feng Xujin only hummed at her while kissing her head again. Do you still remember when we first met? He suddenly asked her. Of course, I was too excited that I couldn't control myself. That was so embarrassing. Li Weiwei hid her face. But you amuse me as you're different from others. Also, I am glad you approached me, or else we wouldn't be here. I would still be the same colorless Feng Xujin. Feng Xujin added, feeling glad that they met. Yeah, I am also proud that we became this close to each other despite all the rough path. Also, I can proudly say that I'm happy that I got entangled with the great general. He chuckled at her silliness. He wanted to stay like this with her for the rest of his life. She fulfilled his entire life without her. He is nothing but an empty can. Today we shared the sweetness and tears of the general's cherished one. Hoping this story brings you inspiration and emotion. Thank you for watching. See you in the next episode.